Good afternoon. Welcome to season 3, episode 3 of Sipping Tea with Stacy T. I am Stacy. Hopefully, you're having a great one. Just going to adjust the lighting a little bit because it has me very washed out. So, we're going to change the setting. But again, hopefully, everybody's doing well. There we go. Looks a little bit better. Y'all, it's been a little bit of time. For those of you who tried to sign on last week, first of all, I want to apologize because last week was a little chaotic. I had a birthday party to attend to. I'm not apologizing for that, but I am, apologizing for the fact that I tried to get out the episode and literally every single conceivable thing happened to try to not make that possible. So I apologize for the fact that that was a thing. It may be a little bit, I'm not sure what the sound is coming through like. I do have the air conditioning running, fans running, because y'all, me being hot is not a lovely situation. So we have that going. But again, I am trying to make sure that I'm audible over that. So hopefully you all are able to hear me. But again, I want to apologize because last week, I'm not even sure if the episodes went through. I tried to watch them back on my end and I saw a piece and then another piece. I actually had to stop the live and then restart it. So again, one of the things that I will say is that over the past couple of weeks, what I have noted is that the enemy has definitely sought to cause a little bit of disturbance in technology for me, in my own personal, just me in general, right? Has caused there to be a little bit of a level of frustration as far as trying to do the best that I can. But sometimes things are not going to be what I can actually manage. And then also the realization that, guess what? As you're healing in, within yourself. And, sometimes situations come about in opportunities or lack of opportunities and people and sometimes there's just a level of frustration and you're trying to manage your way through it because healing is a process that happens. Healing's a process that happens, and what I will say is that it happens in pieces. It happens in layers. I told you all that when I started my healing journey. For me, it was a root level extraction, right? But it meant that I had to go down into some of what I was managing. I had to go down into a lot of pain, a lot of situations, a lot of trauma. God had to literally extract the root. I was actually trying to do that. But the reality of it is you can only do those things in concert with God. You can't try to do that by yourself. And one of the things that I will tell you this past week that happened is God actually told me that he is creating a whole new root system for me. Because again, me trying to get it done, me trying to do it, y'all, not possible. I am only a human being and we are spiritual beings living in a human or having a human experience. And as you're trying to have that human experience, human emotions get involved, disappointments get involved, other people get involved, opportunities get involved, and you're trying to do the best that you can unto yourself. But the fact of the matter is, even though you are intentioning to do the things that you need to do, it doesn't mean that everything around you is going to be under control. It doesn't mean that everything around you is going to go in concert with you. It doesn't mean that everything is invested in doing healing for themselves, or the situations are going to magically become easier or whatever, right? The reality is that healing happens, but it happens in a natural situation. And so you have to give yourself grace as you're navigating. And I'm still working on that. Being a person that has always held high expectations for myself that have been both internally driven, but also externally driven. I feel like people have had a lot of expectations for me and how I live my life and how I conduct myself and the spaces that I've held and so on and so forth. So again, very long way, drawn out way of saying I apologize for any people who are disappointed by not having a functional sipping tea last week. But I want you to understand that I did all that I could to make sure that happened. But we're back again. And we're here to be able to spend time with each other, to be able to talk about this important topic, which is safety. The particular episode is entitled "And You're Safe," right? So if you've ever watched baseball, you kind of understand why I'm saying it that way. But before we get started, it is sipping tea with Stacy T. Now, your girl was not feeling that great. I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling 100% yet today, but with God's grace, I am here. So I'm doing something to coat my stomach. I'm doing the ginger tea that I did before. Instant ginger tea, original by Grace, which is funny. I just said God's grace, right? But this tea is really good for your stomach. Ginger in general, for those of you who do not know that, is really good for your stomach. The thing that is interesting about this tea, you know how most tea comes in packets, right? This tea is loose. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to pour it in the cup. I have some hot water in a container, my purple container. The hot water is already ready to go. So let me put this in. And y'all know I always smell the tea beforehand. I'm telling y'all, this smells so good. But I will also say, if you're not a ginger person, if you don't like ginger, you're not going to want to have this because it is very like strong ginger taste. As you guys can see, I'm literally pouring in the actual tea. So it is now in there. I'm going to, I missed a couple. I want every little last drop of it. All right. So I'm going to now pour in the hot water, let that steep, and then we're going to get started with our conversation. So y'all, since we last spoke, a couple of things have happened. Good afternoon. A couple of things have happened. I actually have been writing more of the play. Came up with a really interesting kind of a twist that I'm very excited about. And I've been writing a little bit of that and kind of giving myself grace as I do. One of the things I'm trying not to do is intentionally just push through. I've done that before with plays and they've come out well, but I'm trying to be very intentional about not doing that this time around because it doesn't do what it needs to do, right? It then becomes like this thing where, I'm pushing it through, but it feels, and that's from me. I will say that's my interpretation. People were like, oh my gosh, that was great. And in my head, I'm like, all right, thanks. But, I feel like it could have been different or gone differently. So, it is what it is. So I'm trying to be diligent about not just going, but at the same time, trying to hold myself accountable to getting it done by a certain time frame. And I'm not going to tell y'all what the time frame is because I know how y'all are. Y'all will be like, so is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it done yet? So that's one thing. The other thing is I have looked into getting a domain name for one of the things that God has given me, one of the subject areas. And I found a way to do that. And so I've been kind of organizing all of the things that I want to put on that particular thing. It's going to be a domain name specifically that talks about my speaking engagements or my ability to do, keynote presentations for the Lord. So I've done a lot of keynote speaking, or not a lot, but I've done a fair amount of keynote speaking in a variety of different areas. And I will still continue to do that, because it's a part of who I am. However, this is very different. God has had me on this track and he has really given me a very specific group of talks based on the diamond season. So I'm very, very fortunate that God has been kind of sharing with me the direction that I need to build this out. And so I've been doing that in addition to, still doing the job search. He'll still continue to lift me up for that. But one other thing that I wanted to come on and talk to you about was something that I really discovered last night. Or maybe even it was yesterday and then last night was that, I came on this whole healing journey to be transparent about kind of what I've been managing and how I've been managing it. And, I've been doing that to the best of my ability. And it's not to say that I've shared every single thing that I've ever done in life or every single choice that I've made. That's not the case. And it probably will never be the case until God tells me that that's the direction. But what I will tell you is that there has been one thing that I have not spoken about. And it's a physical situation. Lord, I'm just trying to get myself comfortable, y'all. But it's a physical situation. So I was talking about that yesterday on live. And the fact of the matter is I do have what my right leg is substantially larger than my left leg, and it's been a situation that I've managed for quite some time. And it has been a situation that has caused me discomfort physically, but also mentally and emotionally. Um, because I really don't pray that hard for myself. So I've been doing a lot of praying for other people. I've been doing, and it's not that I exclude myself from prayer, but if you're gonna ask me if I like do go as hard as I do for or have been for other people, for those of you who have been on my TikTok, you've kind of seen where God has brought me in that regard, that I've been praying for people and he's been sending people for me to pray for, and I touch and agree with them, and do some intercessory stuff and all that, right? And that's been a blessing, because I have to tell you, the fact that God even finds me worthy to do that is an honor to me. But what I recognize is that, and somebody had to bring it to my attention, is that I haven't been, the amount of fervor or the amount of passion that I'm praying for other people, I don't apply that to myself. And so yesterday I was our trash day, and I went out and did the trash in the morning. And as I was coming in, I literally said to God, and it wasn't like I was going hard, but I was like, God, if you could do all these things for other people, and I've seen you work miracles in other people. I know Jehovah Rapha means you are the healer. I know it says by your stripes we were healed, which means it's past tense. I know that you said healing is the children's bread. And so if I'm speaking those things and believing and trusting in you to do those things for other people, why do I not add myself to the list in that area? And I haven't been. That's an entire honest thing. I've been saying, I'll get up and I'm like, okay, God, you and me, or I'll rub my leg, or I look down on it, it's frustrating. It's actually heavier than people probably think. And so sometimes just walking is a chore. Sometimes moving it feels really heavy. And so the reality of it is the same level of uh of passion that I talk to other people about their issues and their situations, and pray for family and all those types of things. I need to also be doing that for me. And so I did that yesterday, and I literally said, God, I know that you're going to start shrinking this leg to that it's normal, so that I can walk normally, I can be whole, so that as I'm walking and you're moving me in purpose, and you're going to have me in these positions where I'm speaking to people, and you're going to have me in these situations where I'm able to travel and deliver your word and encourage people. You're going to make it so that I don't have the pain, I don't have this situation in my body. And so, y'all, I'm in the space of my life that I'm crazy enough to have crazy faith. Like back in the day, we used to talk about the older people in the church. They're like, this one was like, I have crazy faith that God can do this, that, and the other thing. And I know he's going to pay this bill, and I know he's going to do this thing. And I like, these people is crazy. But now I'm that crazy old person, because I believe that God can do everything except for fail. And so if he's done it, if he can literally, and I know I say this a lot, but if he can part the Red Sea, he can heal my leg, right? If he can speak through a burning bush, then he can find my person. The reality of it is I have to spend enough time telling him the specifics of what I need. And I believe that God has been waiting on that, because when he said at the beginning of the year, when he had me say at the beginning of the year, God, I don't understand this season, I don't like this season, but I trust you. He wants to know that I would trust him with me, right? All of me, the things that are going on with me. He wanted me to make sure that I was putting my mask on first, so that other people could then be able to move forward, right? So that I could make sure, if I don't have my mask on, then I can't help the next person. I don't have the energy, I don't have the ability, I don't have the air in my lungs to be able to move forward and support the people that God wants me to do that for. So, y'all, I just wanted to share that, because not because I'm looking for sympathy, not because, but I'm trying to walk in a space where the enemy can't come to me and try to disqualify me in areas that he's been trying to. I can't have him trying to make me feel like, oh, well, you're not going to have a person, because no person is going to want somebody with this extra situation, or with this ailment, or with this, whatever it is. And the reality of it is, God didn't tell me that, right? I literally have dreamed of my wedding. Now, I never saw the person's face, but I literally dreamed of walking down the aisle in my wedding. So the fact of the matter is, God has told me that I'm going to have a thing, and the enemy is consistently trying to tell me that I won't. So it goes back to, is God a liar or is he? And I'm going to tell you, God is not a liar. So I just wanted you to stay encouraged. I wanted to share that with you because my hope is that my transparency, even in that, even in me, stepping into a place where I share that vulnerable thing that I do intentionally cover, that I am sensitive about, that it bothers me. But I'm sharing that because I don't want the enemy to have any authority over the way that I function, the way that I move, how God can bless me, believing and trusting in God for healing for even me. For even me. So I want for all of you who may be watching this now or watching it later in the day or in the weeks to come, I want you to understand that God can and will heal you. God can and will show up. God does care about you. The things that matter to you, the things that bother you, the things that keep you up at night, the things that plague you, the things that injure your spirit, the things that the enemy wants to use to keep you confined, God cares about. He knows about them. He often wants us to bring those things to him, and all too often we don't. We don't. So I wanted to share that because as I'm talking about this topic today, which is your safe only comes from a position of being made to be able to be vulnerable, right? So many of us have been in a position in our lives that we have not been made to feel safe. We've not been made to feel safe sometimes emotionally, sometimes in relationships, sometimes in places of business, sometimes in our own home, right? There's times when you go to the doctor, what do they tell you? Are you safe at home, right? And sometimes people joke around and say, well, no, I'm not really safe. But the fact of the matter is, so many people are in positions in their lives that they don't feel emotionally safe. They don't feel like they can be their vulnerable selves. And God was trying to have me release that thing so it's not something that the enemy can use to torment me. It's not something that the enemy can use to make me feel like I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not deserving enough, or I'm not worthy enough, because God is the one who adds value. Me having a leg that is a discomfort, me having a leg that functions not at optimal level does not make me less to God. My ability to still encourage people, my ability to still say what God has me say in a time such as this does not change because of that. So I don't care what it is that you are managing your way through. I don't care what ailment, what they would call deformity or infirmity in your spirit, in your physical body, in your mind, in your soul. I don't care what it is. God is still a healer. God does still care about it. Keep bringing it to him. I don't care how many times. And I remember back in the day, there'd be some people that would go up to the altar all the time. And I'm like, good Lord, they still going up? But now I'm looking at it a little bit different, because back then I was like, don't they have faith? They have faith, but the fact is they haven't seen the manifestation. And until they see the manifestation, they're going to maybe continue to go up, because the word says, if I had not seen the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, I would have fainted. And there's some of us that are near that point in our lives, and we're just trying to make sure we trust in God so that we don't faint. Because fainting is a real thing, and people need to stop acting like, oh, well, that means you don't trust God enough. And oh, that means you need to work on your faith. No. The fact of the matter is, life will press down on you. And sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes you don't have the support that you would like to. Sometimes you don't have people rallying around you. Sometimes your own mind will tell you that you're not enough. Why? Because the enemy is going to consistently come in an area where you've had a sore spot, right? Where you've had a scab. And he's going to keep trying to like just needle at that thing, right? Until you cave in, until you give in, until you don't have the bandwidth or the strength, right? And the reality of it is, some of us feel like we've been running around the bases, right? Running and running and running and running and running. And every single time we get to third, and then somebody's trying to wave us on to come home, it seems like every single time that catcher is at that base blocking home plate and knocks you out right before you get there. And so that means you're not safe. It means you haven't felt safe. And yet you're, God, I'm going to keep running. I'm going to keep running. I'm going to keep trying. And you try again and you get to third. And now, because you've had so many times of getting to third and not getting to home, now you're not feeling so confident, right? The first time you're like, man, I can make it, because you just are crazy enough to believe, hey, why not? Why not me? But now you've had so many things in life be that catcher that blocks home plate. And every single time you try to run, and every single time you try to be focused, okay, you try to think of your technique, and okay, the ball is out there, I think I can make it. And you run, and you trust yourself, and you trust yourself, and you don't make it. And people will sit here and be like, especially for women, man, you women need to be softer and you need to be this. Let me just tell you something, ma'ams and sirs. The reality of it is there's some women that have never had the opportunity to sit in a place of softness. Why? Because of the responsibilities that they had to take on did not dictate that they could sit in a space of just sitting back. Women have had to sit in spaces of survival for all too long. And then when they try to sit in a place of safety, somebody pulls out the rug from under. It's like literally somebody picking up home plate and then putting it in their trunk and expecting you to slide in and say, and have the umpire say you're safe, but there's nothing there. There's nothing there for you to slide to. I want you to understand that safety comes from God and God alone. You have to get into a place of safety in Him. Oh my God. All right. So I wrote, I have some stuff written down, but I had it on my computer and then I didn't write it down on paper. So y'all know I got to take off my glasses to read what I have on here, but bear with me. And this is a real thing. Some of us have spent so many years bracing for the impact. So your central nervous system doesn't even understand what it would be like to be safe. I've said that to people so many times. I said, man, I would love to, people talk about soft girl life, soft girl era, right? I would love to sit in that space. I have no idea what that looks like. Zero idea what that feels like. Because since I was a younger woman in my early 20s, the reality of it is stepping up was what I did. Is what had to be done. So sitting in a life where people like, oh, I remember we were talking about online. People were talking about, my boyfriend paid for my hair to be done and my nails to be done and this and that. And I said, I've never had a man do that for me. And they were like, Stacey, that's not even soft girl life. That's typical. That's typical. And I was like, my God. So what happened here? Because it's never happened. And I've been in long relationships, but never. Never. So the fact of the matter is, sometimes you are in situations where people assume, right? Because a lot of people have assumed of me that, oh, well, Stacey, she likes to wear makeup and she'll make sure her wig's right, or she has a different wig all the time and she wears jewelry and da-da-da-da-da. Her nails are done, so she must be soft girl lifing. Y'all, I don't know what that is. But I'm sitting in a space where God is trying to get me from being in that mode of survival, the survival mode. You have to just go and go and go and got to make sure this is done and that is done and that is done. This whole year, I haven't been able to do the things that I typically would do because my survival mode kicked up 1,000 degrees. So again, just going back to this, when you've spent years bracing for impact, your nervous system learns that armor is the thing. Armor is the thing. I need to protect myself. I need to protect myself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I need to protect myself because who gonna do it? Who's gonna do it? And so as you're in a space, and y'all, I'm in a space, and I've told you all that, I thought I had found my husband. That clearly is not the case. And so in fact, moving forward right now, I had to realign because I was doing my best to put myself in a space where he's going to be leading, and I'm going to be in a space where I'm going to support and all that. So I was conditioning my mind to prepare for soft life. But the reality is that's the last thing. I got kicked right back into survival mode, and I got kicked hard. So now we're in this space that we're like, okay, God, soft. You want me to sit in the space where I'm not in survival mode, because survival mode makes you make decisions that sometimes are desperate, right? It will put you in a position where you're making desperate choices and not the choices that God really wants you to be making. Hello, I didn't see you come in. The reality is my healing journey has been there's been a hard piece in my healing journey, and that has been trying to sit in a place that is not survival mode. That has been a very hard transition for me, because I know that I have to give God the ability to be my safe place, right? He is my safe. He's where I can say safe. That's where I can say that I'm safe in him. He has created a space of safety for my spirit, for my mind. And that is the important thing. So when God starts healing you, that's what he's trying to do. That's one of the things that he's trying to do. But the beautiful thing is, because God knows you, he's not like, okay, you're safe now. Now take all the armor off. Drop all the things. Because he's like, he knows you're going to be like, excuse me? You want me to do what now? You want me to just drop all the armor after years and years or years of people not showing up for me, or years and years and years of people treating me like junk, or years and years and years of people minimizing me, and years and years and years of people overstepping boundaries, and years and years and you want me to just drop it by the riverside? So yeah, God, that ain't gonna. He knows you ain't gonna do it, so he doesn't even ask you to do that. What he does is he starts becoming the place that you can go. He starts becoming your refuge, right? He starts becoming the safe space for you to land, the space in your mind you can go to when your mind is overwhelmed and your heart feels like it's aching. He becomes that safe space for you. So when you're wanting to feel in your mind like there's nowhere for me to go, that is not the case. The enemy wants you to feel like there's nowhere for you to go in your mind where there's calm, where there's safety. He wants you to feel like there's no place in your heart where you can allow for yourself to just be you. There's no place in your life, in existence, where Stacy could just show up as Stacy, flawed and still trying, with full measure of grace for yourself. There's no place that exists like that, but there is a place of refuge, and that place is in God. So that's why it's so important that we get to that place of understanding of who he is and what he provides. Because I'm going to tell you, in this world, everything is going to continue to bat you down, right? It's going to continue to press and press from every side. And so you have to find that space of respite for your mind and for your soul. And that space is only in God. It is only in God. Psalms 91 says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And I will say unto the Lord, he is my refuge, my fortress, my God, in him will I trust. That is the word. And we need to apply the word to those moments where we don't feel we can be, or there is a place of safety for us emotionally. In those times when you're trying to work through what is going on in your life, and everything feels all over the place, and everything feels heavy, and it feels like no one cares what is going on in your life, and it feels like no one is supporting you, and it feels like people are adding weight to the weight that is already in your head and in your heart. God will give you that place of respite for your soul. He will be the refuge. He is your safe space. Oh my God. The thing that is beautiful about God and how he thinks and how he operates, because he knows us so well, is before he asks you to do a thing, he provides the safety. He provides the safety. Before he says, okay, just trust me, he's like, I'm creating the environment. Now, we may not notice it right away, but God is creating the environment as we sit, as we navigate this hard time, as we navigate all the things that are kind of weighing down on us, God is creating a season of trust, a moment, a safe place for trust to grow. That's the whole point of the relationship. Trust comes in relationships. So if you're not having a relationship with God, it's going to be hard to have a safe space because you don't know him. How are you going to sit in a space of safety with somebody you don't know? And that's the reason why so many people in relationships of every kind, people assume proximity means you know someone. You can literally be married to someone and not know who that person is. So many people have said it. You can work with somebody for years and they know very little about you. It happens all the time. But God wants relationship with you. He wants you to understand how he functions, and he already knows how you function. But he wants you to choose to get to know him so that you know all of the benefits and you can reap from them. Amen. I think that one of the things that I've been, sitting in a space of, so I think I'm on day 530 something of healing now. I can't remember the exact day. But as I sit in that space of healing, and I sit in a space of like, golly, it's taking a long time, Lord. And then I sit in a space of looking at what God has changed in my life from then to now. How God has allowed for me to start walking in the identity that I always thought was deficit. How he's allowed for me to see me. He's allowed for me to see me and not think every single thing about me is bad or wrong or not enough or problematic. Because over time, when life's on top of you and you have interactions with people in the workplace and in the community, in your families, in friendships, what will happen is people will sit and pick apart the things that they don't like about you. And then it'll start to fester in you. But the beautiful thing is that God already knows those things. He doesn't have to point those things out. He creates a safe space that then he can actually talk to you in a way of love, in a way of grace, in a season of compassion to allow for you to see yourself, but not see just the things that you need to work on, to see the beauty in you. So healing does feel slow. I'm not going to lie to y'all. And you're not just learning how to love, you're learning what it feels like to be safe enough to receive love. Y'all, there's a very real thing. And one of the things that people have asked me, Stacy, in your person, do you know what it is that you want? Right. And there's a few things, right? But one of the things that I say often is I want a man that knows how to love and how to be loved. Because the reality of it is a lot of us know how to do things for people, right? A lot of us know how to, give time or give gifts or give adventure or, do things. But sometimes people don't understand that those things might be the way that you're showing care, but sometimes it's not received as love. Do you know what it is to be loved? And the reality is so many people know how to do a thing, but don't know how to receive a thing. They know how to show up for people, but don't know what it means like for somebody to actually show up for them. They know how to give support, but don't know how to receive support because sometimes it's not the thing and it's not consistent. So now it's like, I know that you showed up. I know you did a nice thing then, but week to week to week, are you there? Week to week to week, do you support? Week to week to week, are you saying, hey, I believe in you and I support what you're doing, and hey, that was a great idea, or hey, I see, like, the reality of it is that's why sometimes it can be hard. It can be challenging in all of our different relationships that we're parts of to feel safe. Because we don't even know what love is. And that's why God's love is so important, because it teaches us so many things. His love, his perfect love, his agape love, right? His unconditional love, because we don't love unconditionally. We love with conditions. If you do this for me, then I will show you love. If you act this way towards me, then I will show you love. If you do blah, 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 then. It's an if and then. But God doesn't show up that way, because on Calvary's cross, knowing that we were going to act a pure fool, he still sat there and was nailed to that tree because he loved. So he knows how to love and how to be loved because he is love. But when we're not tapped into that, when we're not tapped into that relationship, we won't know what that feels like. So, of course, we don't know that, when somebody does a thing for us, it doesn't feel safe. Sometimes it actually feels like it feels uncomfortable, right? And it feels uncomfortable because you're like, why did this person do this? What is their motivation? What do they want from me? What is it that they're expecting? Why? Because love hasn't felt safe for you. That is another reason why you have to tap into God, so he can make you understand what love should feel like, how it shows up, so that when it's not like that, you can easily identify, that's not God's love. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to get it right 24 hours a day, because we are human. We are not God in any part, right? We're not Father, Son, or Holy Ghost. But we're striving to get there. So we have to, one, give ourselves grace as we navigate that. But two, also, and this is the thing that I've been learning, is give other people as much grace as you want God to give you. So that means sometimes taking a step back. That sometimes means sitting in a space where you're like, okay, all right, this didn't feel like I wanted to or needed to feel. This didn't feel good. This felt bad. And it doesn't mean not having a conversation about that. Sometimes that's the way that you can show somebody how to love you. They say people need to be told how to treat you, right? People literally treat you how you accept, what you accept. So if you're not telling someone, hey, that doesn't work for me. It's just like love languages. Some people are acts of service. Some people want gifts. Some people are quality time. Some people are physical touch. Some people, if you touch them, they're like, why are you touching me? Get off me. Right? But they love to gift, because that's how they show it. It doesn't mean that's how you receive it. And the reality of it is when you're loving, that's why it's important to know how to love and be loved. How I might show love initially is through this thing, right? Physical touch. But if I know that you don't like that, then that's not loving you how you need to be loved. It's loving how I choose to show you love. Right? So it's, again, learning those things. Because if you want to be a safe space for someone else, it's about learning the other person. It's not just about you being like, well, they know how I am and they should show up how it works for me. No, ma'am and sir, that's not how this goes. That's not how it goes. Because if that were the case, God would show up the same way to every single person and be like, well, they know how I am. No, God, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, comes to us each differently because he knows what we need. He knows specifically what we need. So he shows up to us differently. He don't have to. He's the creator of all things. He could be like, they can figure it out. But that's not how he shows up for us. And thank God for that. Eventually you realize something that is amazing when you're healing. That home plate is another person. Home plate is the presence of God. And what is going to be the beautiful thing about that is seeing God in another person, allowing for yourself to take yourself out of you and look for the God in the other person. Choose to find that in the other person. It is very easy for us to choose to see something that works to our narrative. It's very easy for us to see something that we're choosing to see, right? But seek to see God. Don't you want people to see the God in you? Don't you want people to see that in you? Or do you want people to judge you based on a mistake? Do you want people to judge you based on one conversation, based on one activity? No, I'm assuming you don't, because I know you don't want God to show up in love for you that way. So know that the presence of God in you and in others is how you're going to start feeling safe. But it is about relationship. It's about relationship. You have to be willing to be in relationship with God first. And if you're not in relationship with God first, then every other relationship is going to be problematic. It's going to be harder. And this is another thing I don't care how long you have been saved. I don't care how long you feel you have known God. You still need to go back and ask him to clean some stuff out. Nobody gets to a place where you're like, oh, well, I'm good. I don't need to go to God and ask him to, forgive me for how I, didn't show up for that person, or for how I might have been this way to that person, and how I may have chased this person out of relationship with God, and how I may have injured someone with my sharp tongue, or how I may have, like, all the things. You do not get to a place where you feel like, well, I'm good. That place does not exist. It does not exist. I don't care your age. I don't care your title. I don't care nothing about that. And God doesn't either. It's about going to him and saying, God, this and that. Because life and death does come in the tongue. It's in the power of the tongue. That's a real thing. So are you trying to provide somebody safety? And are you doing that? Or have you been the catcher blocking home plate, telling them that I'm not a place of safety? I'm going to block you from feeling safe. I'm going to block you from feeling loved. I'm going to block you from what you want to complete. I'm just going to be in the way. I am going to stand in the way as an obstacle. Or am I going to stand with you as I'm running? I'm telling you, run, run, run. Am I the person that's at third base telling you can make it, and making sure that I've estimated, I've looked around, I'm seeing if there are any obstacles. I'm seeing if that person that's way out in right field can throw it to the catcher at home plate to get you out before you get there. And if I know you can make it, I'm going to tell you, go, go, go. But I will also tell you that this, right? Let's say you get there and you slide and you still don't make it. What am I going to do? I'm going to come and I'm like, man, you gave it a good run. We're going to get it next time. I'm going to encourage your spirit, because that is a thing that I'm choosing to do as your safe place, as your safe space. I'm going to encourage your spirit. I'm going to tell you that it's all right to have a little trip. I'm going to tell you it's all right to have a moment. I'm going to tell you that. Why? Because it's the truth. It's the truth. Safety does not mean perfection. Christianity does not mean perfection. Living a life for God does not mean perfection. It means chasing after God with your heart and being earnest with what you're trying to do, and recognizing that when you fall short, that you're willing to say, I fell short, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask God to continue to restore me so that I can continue to bless God's people, and I can continue to hold the mantle, and I can continue to walk in purpose. But my goal, my hope is that in me, there are some people that see safety. They see that they're going to be able to be encouraged. They're going to be able to run. And I might be running a little slower than you, but I'm going to be running, right? And maybe I'm just waving you in because, y'all know, I usually run if something is chasing me, but y'all get the general idea, right? That's the thing that I want to be. You need to choose how you want to show up. Do you choose to be a safe space? And what does that mean that you have to change? What does that mean you need to give to God? What does that mean that you have to offer up? What does that mean that you have to, you have to think about? What challenges does that pose for you? What challenges does that pose for you? Because I'm going to tell you, every single one of us has junk we need to work on. If you have deluded yourself to thinking that's not the case, you are indeed delusional. And you are not in a safe place in your own mind. Because we all fall short. That's the word. That's not me. We all do. So with that, y'all, I didn't even drink any of my tea. Let me drink some of my tea. I got so ramped up on what I was just talking about. Y'all, when I say this tea is so good, again, for those of you who came in late, my stomach was a little upset. So this is what I had, the instant ginger tea. That stuff is so good. It is so calming. And I literally just had it in and I'm like, I can't wait to drink the rest of it because it's that good. But y'all, I want you to make sure as you're going through your healing journey that you know that your home plate is always with God. Your safe space is always with God. But I also want you to be safe to yourself. What does that mean? Loving on you, showing up for you, making sure that you are prioritizing the things that you need to do for you. Because if you can't even trust yourself to show up for yourself, why would other people show up for you? You're teaching yourself what to accept from behavior from others because you're not even showing up for you. You're not even caring about you. You're not even loving on you. So you're the person saying, "Hey, you can make it home," and you're also at the same time the catcher blocking the daggone the path, the base path. And you can't have it both ways in order to be happy. You can have it both ways if you want to be feeling always scattered in your mind. But if you want to walk towards this next stage that we're walking toward, we want to continue to keep growing and keep healing and keep walking towards wholeness and walking towards happiness and experience moments of joy. If we want that to be the case, then we have to look at ourselves first. Put your mask on, ma'ams and sirs. Put it on. It's not selfish to care about yourself. It's selfish if you only care about yourself. If you're never caring about someone else. If you only think that everything about you is the way things have to be. And if you're always considering your needs and never considering any, then that's selfish. That's absolutely selfish. But the fact of the matter is, caring for you and making sure you are good is what you're supposed to do. That's an actual thing that you're supposed to be doing. So with that, y'all, I want to tell you I appreciate you. I want you to find your safety. I want you to know your safety is in God. I want you to find your safety in you. Start to trust yourself. Start to center the things that are happening in your life. Make sure, if you will, that you have some oil in your lamp. Right? Stop trying to light everybody else's pathway. Stop trying to, and again, I started talking about my leg and all the things and how the enemy was trying to talk to me about not being enough and all the things. I haven't been praying for safety in me. I haven't been praying to love every part of me, the rolls, the dimples, the funky leg, all the things, my hairline not acting right, all the things, y'all. Because as you continue to move forward, the enemy is going to try to pull all the things that you don't talk about. He's going to try to pull those as the main thing that keeps you in bondage. And so when I give those things to God and say, "God, help me in this area. God, help me in this area. God, help me to see the beauty that you see in me. God, you told me that I'm a beautiful person. You told me that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. You told me I'm the head and not the tail." I'm not feeling that in this moment, but I still know it's true. I know your word is true. Help me to feel that. Help me to see that in myself. Help me to look in the mirror and be okay with what I see and not, ugh. Help me in those areas. Allow for me to still know that I am that girl that you intentioned for me to be, even with the shortcomings, even with the issues, even with deformity, even with ailments, even with infirmities, even with all those things. I am safe in you and I am wonderfully made because you have deemed it so. No devil in hell or anywhere else he may be roaming has the authority to tell me that I'm something different than what God has told me and deemed that I am. But that's why it's important to consistently go to God and get those re-ups, get that safety work, get that love work, get your love language with God so that it's so beautiful and it's so consistent that when you hear the enemy, when he tries to act a fool, you're like, "Oh, you again? I rebuke you again in the name of Jesus." Because my name is just my name, but the authority that I have as a child of the King allows for me to rebuke you to the pit because you lose. And God said that. That ain't me. Again, that's the word of the Lord. And you know that because you know the word of the Lord. So y'all, I appreciate you. I thank you so much for showing up. Again, I'm sorry about the craziness that last week was. If I can't get it to function the right way, then it might be something I have to re-record. But I have not missed a week. I just want that to be clear, y'all. It was on a Sunday. It was jacked up, but I still got it done. I just want to thank you guys so much for your support. We're in season 3 already. Can't believe it. We're going to keep doing this because I believe that God is blessing people through it. I've had more people come to me and say, hey, I was watching your podcast, your sipping tea. And I was like, why don't you come on the day? Or why don't you leave a note to let me know that you're there? So as you tell people and as you share the podcast, if you can tell them, or if you yourself leave a note on the video, that'd be so helpful. So people know that, it's here and that I'm trying to do what God is asking me to do. So with that, y'all, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and extend to yourself first. And then to me, your girl, a measure of grace. I will see you next Saturday, season 3, episode 4 of Sipping Tea with Stacey T. Bye, everyone.